Okay, so this is another demonstration video on drawing with the grid, or grid drawing, okay? In this video I'm going to show you how to grid a source image. It's pretty similar to how we gridded a paper, but we have an extra tool. And so let me show you first a couple examples of a grid drawing again, and these are cartoons. So here is my example. I showed this in the last video of SpongeBob that is drawn with a grid, and that's those horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, so this is the source image. This is what you're going to do in this video. You're going to grid the source image. Okay, and this is the picture that I used to draw this. Okay, we compare them, they should be pretty much the same, not that much, not that different really. Okay, and I'll show you an example of a student's drawing that's made with a grid. Okay, that's this right here, and I think it looks pretty good. There are a few spots that didn't erase quite as well, but we'll get into that later. So what you need for this video, this grid drawing, is you need a source image. Okay, it should fill most of an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. You need a pencil. You might need an eraser. Let me grab mine. Put it away. So you need a pencil, your source image, an eraser. You'll need a ruler, and then you're going to use this sort of tool that I made. It's not like a typical tool. This is an 8 by 10 piece of matboard. It's like cardboard but stronger, and this will help you make sure that you draw an 8.5 grid. The reason why we're doing that is because we want our paper, this paper, your grid drawn paper, to be the same size as your source image. So my source image is Bob from Bob's Burgers. You might be doing this with a cartoon too. I've done other projects that use the grid, but using a cartoon first is always good because they don't have a lot of shading to deal with. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab this 8 by 10 piece of matboard, and you're going to line it up with the bottom of the image or wherever you want your character to be. So usually I would put your character in the middle of your paper, but you might want it off to the side. So I'm going to put this and line it up with the edge of him so he's not floating in air. That looks pretty good. Then I'm going to take my pencil. I'm going to trace around this square, or rectangle. It's not really square. It's okay if you kind of go off the edges, because this paper, this source image, is going to end up getting thrown away, so if it's not pretty, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now I have a big rectangle around Bob. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my ruler, and this is just a 12-inch ruler, and I'm going to make little hatch marks in this rectangle. If you've watched my other video, it's pretty much the same thing that you're doing there. So you're lining up the ruler with the edge of the drawn rectangle, with this edge. Okay? And then you're going to make a little hatch mark on every inch. So there should be 7 hatch marks. Okay, and you're going to do the same thing with the bottom of your picture, or your rectangle. I'm really excited about drawing Bob from Bob's Burgers. I like that TV show. Okay, after you have your hatch marks made, and this one's kind of hard to see because it's the same value as his pants, you're going to take your ruler and you're going to line up the hatch marks and draw a line. And I'm not going to do all of Bob again. Like in the last video, I didn't do the complete paper. I'm just going to do just a few lines so you can see what it looks like. But when you do it, you need to go all the way across. Okay, so there's my vertical lines. Now I want to do my horizontal lines. So I'm gonna turn my paper this way because it's easier for me. If you want to just get real close, I don't care how you do it. So again, I'm lining up my ruler with the edge of the rectangle, and I'm making a little hatch mark at every inch. There should be 9 hatches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. You're going to do the same thing with the other edge. I think it's always good to measure off the same edge, just because sometimes paper isn't completely square, and that means that maybe one corner or one side of the paper is longer than it needs to be. If you measure off the same edge, like I'm measuring from the top, that means that your hatch marks will still line up and it'll be even and won't be a kind of weird looking square. Okay, so now I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to draw a line. I already lined them up, so it's pretty easy. Your ruler is your friend. Don't do this without your ruler. If you do it without it, it's probably going to be a really uneven line and kind of wiggly. Might as well have a straight line with a ruler than one that will make you ruin your picture eventually. Okay, so there's a few lines. Okay, so now you can kind of see the squares right here. I'm just going to measure this just to make sure that it's 1 inch. Okay, that's 1 inch right there. Oops, kind of shining on that side. Let me lift my paper up or something. Yeah, so that's like 1 inch, the 8 marks right here. Okay, and then that's 1 inch. Okay, so these are good squares. The squares in this are the same size as the squares on this paper. Okay, in my next video, when I show you how to draw with it, it's important that these squares be exactly the same. Okay, so that's how you grid a source image, with a pencil, a ruler, your picture obviously, and then this piece of matboard.